Though the contents of this program provide information taught by certified firearm training instructors on how to properly carry and discharge firearms, do not attempt this at home. All gun handlers should seek personalized training programs in their area to properly learn how to safely carry and operate firearms. Contact your local law enforcement or NRA agency to find certified training instructors in your area.
On today's episode, we will introduce you to author and conceal and carry advocate Chris Bird.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And certainly in the last 50 years, it has been infringed.
The people out there that are committing these violent crimes, they have guns.
Britain, Canada, Australia have become more dangerous.
Also today, we will discuss the 4 categories of conceal and carry laws in the United States. How much do you know about your state's firearm laws? And later, 3 new students take on the Bank Scenario Challenge. How will they fare? All that and more on today's Conceal and Carry School.
Conceal and Carry School is brought to you by Ruger, rugged, reliable firearms. Conceal and Carry School is brought to you by Insight Technology, built for battle, and by Blackhawk, honor as a way of life.
Welcome to Conceal and Carry School. We've brought 9 students together and have put them through an intense tactical handgun class in the heart of Texas. Though each individual story is unique, they have all found personal empowerments in their own separate ways. Today, we'll hear Chris Bird's story.
Chris isn't just an instructor at Tac Pro. He's also a student.
My name is Chris Bird. I was born in England. I write and publish books about guns, conceal carry. I wrote the Concealed Handgun Manual. I've always been a handgun shooter. I used to shoot in England when it was still legal.
In the 1960s, Bird was stationed in Berlin, West Germany, and Belgium, serving as company weapon training officer in the Royal Military Police of the British Army.
After that, I moved to Canada, where I spent about 17 years, first as a ranch hand, later as a newspaper man, and then as a TV reporter.
A long-standing competitive shooter, in 1986, Bird competed in the Canadian Practical Pistol Championships.
I met a Texan in Vancouver, married her, and got down to Texas as soon as I could.
In the late 1980s, he and his wife sailed a 27-foot boat from Vancouver, Canada, to Sydney, Australia, and back to San Francisco. Soon after arriving in Texas in 1989, he began working as a police reporter for the San Antonio Express-News.
This was the time when concealed carry was being argued about in the legislature, and I was told to do some articles on it.
Currently the director of the Texas Concealed Handgun Association, Chris Bird has a long history with firearms and personal defense.
The ownership of a gun does not mean that you're some sort of cowboy who's going to go out and shoot people. What it means is that you have the most effective form of self-defense.
Despite his age, Chris Bird continues to enroll in regular firearm training to keep his skills sharp. As much as many of us might like to find it, there is no one place devoid of criminal activity in the world. Even in America, where it's easy to find a community with a lower crime rate, the simple fact remains crime does and will exist. But depending on your state and city laws, you may or may not have the proper right to defend yourself. Chris Bird has long believed that every man, woman, and child should have the basic right to defend themselves. Up next.
I thought it was an accident. So did everybody else in the restaurant. Then we heard gunshots.
Today, we'll take another look at the Luby's massacre and how this one incident that took the lives of 22 people changed Texas gun laws to what they are today. And later, Chris takes some time off the range to meet with the students. All that and more right after this. Washington, D.C. has very restrictive gun control laws, but often has one of the highest murder rates in the nation. According to the FBI's Uniform Crime Report, in the 25 years following the D.C. gun ban, the murder rate in our nation's capital has increased 51%. even while the national rate decreased 36%. Are you beginning to get the picture? Welcome back. Today we've been learning more about Tac Pro instructor and published writer Chris Bird. Chris has dedicated most of his life to firearms, as well as the preservation of an individual's right to carry a weapon and defend themselves. But what's inspired him to take this path in life? Killeen, Texas, October 1991. A pickup crashed through the front window of Luby's cafeteria. The driver soon got out of the vehicle and began randomly shooting people.
I was waiting for the guy to say something like, "Everybody put your wallets up on the table." But the shooting continued. And then I realized a few months earlier I had made what I still consider to be the stupidest mistake of my life.
Susanna Gracia Hupp normally carried a gun in her purse, which was illegal at that time in the state of Texas. But on that day, she had decided to follow state laws and left her .38 Special back in her car.
The guy had complete control over the situation. Rushing him was not a simple thing to do.
At this point, stranded without a weapon, Susanna's 71-year-old father, Al Gracia, decided to take action.
And he said, "I've got to do something. I've got to do something. He's going to kill everybody in here." He went at the guy. But the man saw him coming and simply turned and shot him.
As her father lay mortally wounded, someone broke out a window, providing a precious escape route. Susanna reached for her mother and raced toward the exit.
When I got out that back window, I turned around to say something to my mother and realized she hadn't followed me out.
The attacker walked up to Susanna's mother while she held her husband and shot her in the head. Soon thereafter, police arrived. The attacker moved into the back of the restaurant and took his own life. So what can a normal person do to legally protect themselves? If you're Susanna Gracia Hupp, you take on Congress.
She didn't blame the gun. She also didn't lay a lot of blame on the shooter. She blamed the legislators who had legislated away her right to have a gun to defend herself and her parents.
From the Texas legislature, Susanna fought the brave fight and helped pass legislation to ensure that honest people can arm themselves and carry concealed weapons.
She is probably the best witness for concealed carry that we have in this country today.
Soon after the concealed handgun laws were passed in the state of Texas, Chris Bird began to write the Concealed Handgun Manual. As a longtime handgun shooter and a former crime reporter for the San Antonio Express News, Chris was more than qualified to write on the subject of concealed firearms.
By telling the stories of people who have used guns to defend themselves, we get the message across that sometimes this is going to happen, and you need to have thought about it before.
The contents of this book contain everything a responsible gun owner would need to know, from how to choose a handgun, how to carry, and how to have the right mindset if you're ever in a firefight. In the text, Chris brings together the philosophies and tactics of many self-defense instructors.
It's basically a book of advice for people like you who are considering a concealed handgun license.
Chris, is there any times that you don't carry your gun concealed on you?
Every state that has concealed carry has a list of places where you may not go if you are carrying. Most states, including Texas, don't want you carrying in a bar. You will all have different requirements in terms of the law. And I would suggest when you get home, the first thing you do is find out what the laws regarding the use of deadly force are and how to get a concealed handgun license if that's possible in your state.
Up next, Howie Drummond faces the ultimate challenge at Tac Pro.
I'm going to ask you to step back, sir. I'm telling you. I'm going to ask you to step back.
Welcome back. When it comes to concealed handgun laws, there are 4 categories: no issue, may issue, shall issue, and unrestricted. The majority of the 50 states fall into the category of shall issue. A shall issue jurisdiction requires that citizens obtain a permit to carry a concealed handgun. But the granting authority has no discretion in awarding the permits, and by 2011 there will be 37 states with a shall issue jurisdiction. The second most popular category is may issue. In a may issue jurisdiction, subjects are required to obtain a permit to carry a concealed handgun. However, the granting of such permits is at the discretion of the local authorities. Currently, there are 8 may-issue states, including California, New York, and Massachusetts.
The difficulty with New York and California and those may-issue states is that almost every jurisdiction has some different set of rules.
The third most popular concealed handgun category is unrestricted. Only 3 of the 50 states enforce an unrestricted jurisdiction: Vermont, Arizona, and Alaska. Residents of these states can legally carry a concealed firearm without a permit. And the fourth category is no issue. A no-issue jurisdiction is one that does not allow private citizens the right to carry a concealed firearm. Illinois, Wisconsin, and the District of Columbia are the only jurisdictions in the Union that enforce this. Howie Drummond is moments away from facing his final challenge at Tac Pro.
I'm here to get the education. I want to take the education back home.
He's been training for a full week solid now, but will he be able to retain his skills when the adrenaline kicks in? In this course lesson, Howie is leaving the bank with pockets full of money. He will be armed with a 6-shot revolver loaded with live paintballs, and in addition to the gun, also has an alarm on his car that can be activated by his keychain.
Stay out of this. Every time I said stay out of this. Back off. Hey, what are you running from? Okay?
Stay where you're at, sir. Just stay where you're at and talk about this for a second.
This is our argument.
I understand.
This is our argument. This is our. What are you in this for, buddy?
I'm just trying to keep
Come on, man. You know, every time I
don't want to see anybody get hurt. Just stand where you're at, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Just stand where you're at.
Every time.
Sir, I'm going to ask you again to stand where you're at. Do you see that I have a weapon, sir?
No.
Oh, now we're going to go guns, are we? Sir,
now we're going to go
I don't want to have to use my gun, but I'm going to ask you to step back, sir.
I'm telling you.
I'm going to ask you to step back again, and if you do not, get on your knees, sir. Get on your knees now. I understand that.
Put it down. Put the gun down.
Put the gun down. Ma'am.
Put the gun down.
Drop the gun. Drop the gun right now. Drop.
What went through your mind when she said, drop the gun?
Well, I had to think for a second because I thought I was protecting her.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I looked back and I saw her fidgeting a little bit.
Yeah.
And I knew something was squirrely.
Turned out okay.
Yes.
Yeah, if he'd have joined in, it could have been worse.
Yes, sir.
All right, but where we failed, we didn't fail in the end part. We failed in the middle part. We got between them.
Yes.
And whether we think we're protecting them or not is immaterial. We didn't want to be involved in that situation. First things first, when we see the situation, our choice should have been, do I want to be involved? Excellent verbalization. You're obviously confident in yourself. But then what you did was you used that confidence to get in the middle of the whole situation where we wanted you on the outside of the situation. We'll put it down as a win because she wasn't mean enough to shoot you in the back of the head, okay? Did you see his whole demeanor change when she said, drop the gun? What that is that he's now, well, I'm being the good guy, and all of a sudden, I'm the bad guy. How did that happen?
I really didn't know what to do. I started thinking about my kids, my wife, and how in the hell I got myself in a situation when I really shouldn't have.
We can't just get in the middle and expect everyone to do as they're told.
Timothy Leon is now preparing for his final test at Tac Pro.
You're the dunce of the class, and you need to step it up. Those are the things that I was telling myself.
Up next, Timothy Leon applies what he's learned in the class during his final test. But will he be able to apply it in time? And later, Lynn Forsell takes her final test at Tac Pro. Will her age play a factor, or will she come out of this on top? We'll find out.
Conceal Carry School is brought to you by Cheaper Than Dirt, America's ultimate shooting sports discounter, by Otis, the most advanced gun care system in the world, and by TN Marketing and the Personal Defense Network.
Before the break, Timothy Leone of Denver, Colorado just started his final test at Tac Pro. He's been the victim of a heinous hate crime back in 1983 and has been living in a shell ever since. How will he take to this hostile encounter?
I'm just not about to be put in that kind of a situation anymore.
Stop! What do you want?
Get the away, man.
What do you want, man?
Get the away.
What do you want?
Get the away.
What are you doing?
Get back.
What?
Get back,
What
mother.
You're walking right up into our deal here, man. This is my argument. Hey, you don't know how to cuss, man.
Get the away.
You ain't gotta cuss,
I'm
man.
telling you, get the away.
Hey,
Hey, what are you doing?
Get the word.
yeah, that's right.
That's right. That's right.
You too.
Well, we had several things going on.
Okay.
Verbalization escalated beyond control. Then we had physical contact.
Yes.
I wouldn't advise that physical contact on your side.
Okay.
If it comes in, then we defend.
All right. All right.
Because it looked to me like it got to the point where you're like, right, everybody's getting something.
Yeah, everybody's going to get a piece of it now. Okay.
So that's why we're talking about it.
Okay.
Okay, what we teach you is to assess it,
right,
make the right decision, make it better for you, and not better for them.
All right. Okay.
Good job. We're going to have to sit him down and make him read everything that we've taught him. In my opinion, he engaged when it was not a threat to his life.
Regardless of Timothy's point of view, not respecting the full responsibility of holding a firearm could have disastrous effects in the real world. Thankfully, this recreation was only a test. But for Timothy, new ground has been gained in his fight for personal empowerment. A gun is a powerful tool that demands an incredible level of responsibility and personal control.
You are responsible for everything that happens or fails to happen once you carry that gun.
Lynn Forsell prepares herself for the final lesson at Tac Pro. Though she's been doing her best to keep up with the class as a whole, will her age prevent her from succeeding?
Well, we had a little scenario here. I just had exited the bank and I see a couple. They're in front of the truck, so I think, well, maybe I'll go by them.
With a lifetime of habits to overcome, Lynn still has a lot to learn in the way of being prepared.
Same thing again though, you see it, tunnel vision, adrenaline dump, overexcitement, getting the oxygen rush. No, we see it all the time.
Next!
Though the students have gained a vast amount of knowledge and gun skill over the course of the class, for some, the final test has brought a new perspective on the severity of what it means to be a responsible concealed handgun carrier. Gun training is a finite skill. Regular training will help to keep their skills fresh. The question is, will they go after it once they leave here? Next time on Conceal and Carry School, Lori Petoskey grew up in a tiny town in South Dakota. Now graduated from college, Lori has moved to the big city in the east. Will her small town nature make her an easier target in a larger, unfamiliar environment? Also, Ruger's been making guns for more than half a century. What does it really take to make a high-quality all-American firearm? We'll find out next time on Conceal and Carry School.